The electric vehicle price war has officially begun. Toyota's bold move has set off a chain reaction that no automaker can ignore. For years, companies like Tesla, Ford, and Volkswagen dictated the rules, pricing electric vehicles at a premium and convincing buyers that affordability was out of reach. But Toyota has just shattered that illusion. Now every automaker is facing a decision: either drop their prices or risk losing customers forever. This is more than just a temporary shakeup. The moment one company lowers its prices, others are forced to follow. It's a domino effect that could make electric vehicles not just competitive with gasoline-powered cars, but outright cheaper. And if that happens, the last reason to buy a traditional vehicle disappears. So, is this the tipping point that makes electric vehicles the new normal? Or is there an even bigger shift still to come? Toyota's masterpiece. Toyota did not just lower the price, it rewrote the rulebook. For years, traditional automakers insisted that electric vehicles had to be expensive. High battery costs, limited production, and supply chain inefficiencies made affordability seem impossible. But Toyota found the loophole that changed everything. The secret? A bold partnership with GAC, a leading automobile manufacturer based in China. GAC has built its reputation on mastering cost-efficient production without sacrificing quality. By collaborating with a company that specializes in mass production, Toyota gained access to a highly optimized manufacturing process that drastically cut costs. Instead of reinventing the wheel, Toyota leveraged an existing system and made it work in its favor. But that was only part of the strategy. Toyota also made a crucial decision regarding battery technology. Traditional electric vehicles rely on lithium-ion batteries, which are not only expensive, but also require rare materials like cobalt and nickel. Toyota, however, pivoted to lithium iron phosphate batteries. These are not just cheaper, they last longer, charge faster, and require less maintenance. This single change slashed a major portion of the cost without compromising reliability. Toyota also utilized its global scale to drive costs even lower. Unlike new electric vehicle startups that are still refining their supply chains, Toyota has spent decades perfecting mass production. Every step of the assembly process, from raw materials to final product, has been optimized to squeeze out inefficiencies. This allowed them to build a high-quality electric vehicle while keeping the price remarkably low. This is where it gets even more interesting. Toyota's strategy is not just about selling a budget-friendly car. It is a direct attack on the current leaders of the electric vehicle market. And one company in particular is feeling the pressure like never before. Tesla's most profitable model just got wrecked. For years, Tesla was seen as the only real option for those wanting a high-tech, long-range electric vehicle. The company set the standard, and competitors scrambled to keep up. But Tesla's dominance came at a price, literally. The Tesla Model Y, one of the brand's most successful electric vehicles, starts at a price point that is simply unattainable for many consumers. That strategy worked when there were no other alternatives. But Toyota has just rewritten the rules. The new $13,000 electric sport utility vehicle is not just cheaper than Tesla's Model Y, it is so much more affordable that it changes consumer expectations entirely. Suddenly, the choice is not between a gasoline-powered car and an expensive electric vehicle. Now there is an option that is both electric and cheaper than most gasoline-powered cars on the market. This is Tesla's nightmare scenario. The company's entire pricing strategy is now under attack. Tesla has always relied on its premium branding to justify higher prices. But what happens when consumers realize they no longer need to pay a premium for a high-quality electric vehicle? Tesla is now stuck in a dilemma. If it lowers prices to compete, it cuts into its profit margins. If it keeps prices high, it risks losing an enormous portion of the market to Toyota. The implications go beyond just one model. If Toyota can offer an electric sport utility vehicle at this price, what stops them from applying the same cost-cutting strategy to future models? Tesla built its empire on the idea that it was the future of transportation. But what happens when another company makes that future more affordable, more practical, and more accessible to the masses? That is where things get even more surprising. Toyota's new electric vehicle is not just a low-cost option. It is an impressively well-equipped car that defies expectations. What you actually get for $13,000. A budget electric vehicle? Think again. This is not some bare-bones, no-frills economy car. Toyota's new electric sport utility vehicle is packed with features that make it a serious competitor, even against far more expensive models. The interior is a standout feature. A massive 14-inch touchscreen dominates the dashboard, offering a modern, high-tech experience that rivals luxury electric vehicles. The cabin is thoughtfully designed, with premium materials that feel anything but cheap. Toyota has not just focused on affordability, it has built a vehicle that people actually want to drive. Performance is just as impressive. The base model comes with a lithium iron phosphate battery, capable of delivering up to 300 miles on a single charge. Charging speeds are competitive with much more expensive electric vehicles, with fast charging capabilities that reduce downtime significantly. For most drivers, this means that range anxiety is no longer a concern. Practicality is another key selling point. This is a full-sized sport utility vehicle, offering the space and comfort that modern consumers demand. Unlike compact electric vehicles that force buyers to compromise on size, Toyota's model ensures that affordability does not mean sacrificing practicality. Families, commuters, and city dwellers alike will find that this vehicle meets their needs without breaking the bank. Toyota has not just launched an electric vehicle, it has changed the rules of the game. This is not about making electric vehicles affordable, it is about making them the obvious choice. The question is no longer whether electric vehicles are the future. The real question is how quickly the industry will be forced to catch up, because Toyota is not just playing for today's market. This is the beginning of something much bigger. Toyota's boldest move, selling at a loss. Toyota is willing to lose money now to win the future. It sounds like a risky move, but this is not an ordinary business decision. It is a strategic power play. Toyota has chosen to sell its groundbreaking electric sport utility vehicle at a loss, a decision that goes against traditional business logic. In the automotive world, pricing strategies are built around generating revenue per unit sold. But Toyota is not thinking about immediate profit. Instead, it is focused on long-term market dominance. This strategy is not new. Some of the biggest companies in the world have successfully used it to cement their control over an industry. Amazon did it with e-commerce, selling products at razor-thin margins to dominate retail before shifting its revenue focus to cloud computing and digital services. Tesla did something similar, sacrificing short-term profitability to scale production, expand infrastructure, and control the electric vehicle space. Now, Toyota is employing the same playbook to seize control of the next phase of the electric vehicle market. By pricing this electric sport utility vehicle so low, Toyota is creating a domino effect. If its competitors want to stay relevant, they will have no choice but to react. This move is not just about making an electric vehicle accessible to more people. It is about forcing a shift in the entire industry. Automakers that once relied on selling electric vehicles at high margins must now rethink their pricing models, supply chains, and profitability strategies. Toyota is not just selling a car, it is buying customer loyalty, expanding its foothold in the market, and setting the stage for future revenue streams. It has a long history of innovation and dominance, from pioneering hybrid technology to setting global standards for reliability. Now it is positioning itself as the leader in affordable electric mobility, a role that will give it control over not just vehicle sales, but also services, software, and infrastructure. The question is, how will the rest of the automotive industry respond? The market is now in uncharted territory, and this is only the beginning of the battle that lies ahead. The electric vehicle market just became a war zone. For the longest time, electric vehicles were seen as premium products, with price tags that limited accessibility to a select group of buyers. That reality no longer exists. Toyota's decision to launch an electric sport utility vehicle at a fraction of the cost of its competitors has thrown the industry into chaos. Companies that once relied on high margins to sustain their electric vehicle programs are now scrambling to respond. The biggest names in the industry are now under pressure. Ford, General Motors, and Volkswagen have spent years developing electric vehicle lineups, investing billions into research and development, manufacturing, and charging networks. They expected to compete with Tesla, but they were not prepared for Toyota's sudden price drop. Now they face a difficult choice: slash prices to stay competitive or risk losing a significant share of the market. Meanwhile, Build Your Dreams, the dominant Chinese electric vehicle manufacturer, is in an even more precarious position. It has been the leader in affordable electric vehicles, offering models at significantly lower prices than Tesla. But Toyota's new strategy has placed Build Your Dreams in a tough spot. If it does not react, it risks losing its edge. If it lowers its prices further, it could hurt its own profitability. Every automaker now faces the same reality. Electric vehicles can no longer be priced at a premium. The illusion that electric cars must be expensive is shattered. As more companies rush to cut costs and reduce prices, the electric vehicle price war will escalate. The race to the bottom has begun, and those who fail to adapt may not survive. However, the consequences of this battle extend beyond automakers. Toyota's move is reshaping the broader transportation industry, accelerating a trend that many thought would take decades. The biggest casualty may not be Tesla or Build Your Dreams, but gasoline-powered cars themselves. Did Toyota just speed up the death of gasoline cars? If electric vehicles are now cheaper than gasoline-powered cars, what argument is left? For decades, affordability was the strongest selling point of gasoline-powered vehicles. They offered a lower upfront cost compared to electric vehicles, making them the default choice for most consumers. While electric cars were praised for their efficiency and environmental benefits, their high price tags kept them out of reach for the average buyer. That is no longer the case. Toyota's latest electric vehicle is not just a competitor to high-end electric models. It is a direct rival to gasoline-powered cars. At this price point, choosing an electric vehicle is now the more economical decision. Consumers who previously hesitated to switch due to cost now have no financial reason to delay the transition. The outdated notion that electric cars are a luxury is officially dead. The implications of this shift extend far beyond car dealerships. The auto industry, the oil industry, and even governments will feel the impact. Gas stations, which rely on a steady flow of fuel sales, may struggle to stay in business as more drivers charge their cars at home or at public charging stations. Auto repair shops specializing in internal combustion engines will see a decline in customers as electric vehicles require fewer moving parts and significantly less maintenance. The ripple effects could shake the entire transportation ecosystem. Even governments will face unexpected challenges. Many nations have set deadlines to phase out gasoline-powered cars, assuming that electric vehicles would take years to reach price parity. Now that this shift is occurring at an accelerated pace, policymakers may need to adjust their strategies. Instead of vehicle subsidies, the focus might shift toward expanding charging infrastructure, ensuring that cities and highways can accommodate the growing number of electric vehicles on the road. The writing is on the wall. The transition to electric vehicles is no longer a slow, gradual process. It is happening now. The affordability barrier, once the primary roadblock to widespread adoption, has crumbled. But while this shift solves one major problem, it introduces new ones. The rapid decline of gasoline-powered cars could leave industries scrambling to adapt, workers in transition, and infrastructure struggling to keep pace. This is not just a new era of transportation, it is an economic and structural revolution. The question is no longer if electric vehicles will take over, but whether the world is ready for it. The electric vehicle infrastructure nightmare that no one talks about. Toyota may have cracked the affordability issue, but there's a new obstacle in the way, one that could stop the progress of the electric revolution. The real question is no longer whether consumers can afford electric vehicles. It's whether the infrastructure can keep up with the surge in demand. The number of public charging stations is still far behind what is needed for mass adoption. While major cities have seen an increase in charging options, many regions still lack the necessary infrastructure. If millions of new electric vehicles hit the roads, will there be enough charging stations to support them? And more importantly, will they be fast enough to keep up with the needs of everyday drivers? Toyota is already thinking ahead. It has started forming partnerships to expand fast charging networks and invest in new charging technology. Unlike Tesla, which built its own exclusive network, Toyota is working with third-party providers to create a system that supports all electric vehicle owners. This strategy could be the key to mass adoption, but the scale of the challenge is immense. Expanding infrastructure takes time, and without a well-developed network, new electric vehicle owners may find themselves frustrated by long wait times or limited charging access. Charging at home is another major issue. Many potential buyers live in apartment buildings, shared housing, or areas where home charging is not an option. Installing charging stations in residential complexes is costly and slow-moving, leaving many urban drivers at a disadvantage. Workplace charging stations are still limited, and long-distance travel remains a concern for many drivers who fear getting stranded. without a charging point in sight. The race to solve this problem is just beginning. Governments, energy companies, and automakers must work together to build the infrastructure necessary for widespread adoption. Without it, the promise of affordable electric vehicles may be delayed by practical limitations, turning excitement into frustration for millions of potential buyers. But there's another major factor at play. Toyota's reach is global, and if this car is going to truly shake the industry, it needs to go beyond just one market. This raises the next big question. Will Toyota bring this electric sport utility vehicle to the United States and Europe? If it does, it could change the game entirely. The United States and Europe problem. Will this sport utility vehicle ever arrive? Just because this car exists does not mean you can buy it. The launch of Toyota's groundbreaking electric sport utility vehicle at an astonishingly low price has already disrupted the market, but a major hurdle remains. While this vehicle is set to shake up the automotive industry in certain regions, getting it to consumers in the United States and Europe is an entirely different battle. The obstacles? A web of complex regulatory challenges, safety standards, and political roadblocks that Toyota must overcome before this vehicle can reach a global audience. Regulatory approval is the first and most immediate challenge. Unlike markets with fewer restrictions, both the United States and Europe have stringent crash test requirements that every new model must pass. These tests involve high-speed collisions, pedestrian safety evaluations, and structural integrity checks to ensure vehicles meet the highest safety standards. While Toyota has a strong track record of engineering safe cars, adapting a vehicle built for another market to comply with these laws is no small feat. The company may need to reinforce structural components, adjust airbag deployment systems, and even modify the vehicle's battery protection to meet the strict safety protocols of these regions. Beyond safety, tariffs and trade policies add another layer of complexity. In the United States, import tariffs on foreign-built electric vehicles create a significant cost barrier. If Toyota were to ship this vehicle from its current production facilities, the price could increase dramatically, making the vehicle less competitive. One way around this would be to produce it domestically, but setting up new manufacturing plants or retooling existing ones requires heavy investment and time. The European market poses similar issues, as import taxes and emissions regulations could force Toyota to make adjustments to the vehicle's design or face higher costs. Then there are the electric vehicle incentives that governments offer to encourage adoption. While buyers in certain regions benefit from substantial tax credits or rebates, Toyota's model may not automatically qualify. Some countries prioritize local manufacturers or require specific battery compositions to be eligible for incentives. This means Toyota would need to work closely with policymakers to ensure their vehicle meets the necessary criteria to remain affordable. But Toyota's biggest challenge may not come from the government at all. It comes from consumer expectations. The North American and European markets demand more than just affordability. They expect a higher level of refinement, technology, and driving range. While this sport utility vehicle is groundbreaking in its price, it may need additional features to appeal to a Western audience. That could mean a longer driving range, improved infotainment systems, and enhanced driver assistance technology. All of these adjustments take time, money, and a delicate balancing act to maintain the affordability that makes this vehicle revolutionary. Still, if Toyota can navigate these roadblocks, the potential rewards are massive. The company could redefine the entry-level electric vehicle market in the Western world, forcing competitors to react. But the real shockwave would not just hit automakers, it would hit the entire used car market. The used car market is about to collapse. This shift is poised to shake the foundation of dealerships, rental car companies, and even private sellers who rely on used vehicles as a reliable stream of income. If buyers can now purchase a brand new, fully electric, technologically advanced sport utility vehicle for a price lower than many used gasoline-powered cars, why would they settle for an older, less efficient model? The ripple effect could be staggering. The first victims: traditional dealerships. For years, used car lots have thrived on offering budget-conscious buyers cheaper alternatives to new vehicles. But now that advantage disappears. If a used gasoline-powered vehicle from a few years ago costs just as much or more than a brand new electric one, demand for older models could plummet. Dealerships may be forced to lower prices drastically just to move inventory, cutting into their already tight profit margins. Rental car fleets could also face disruption. Many rental companies buy vehicles in bulk and later sell them as used inventory to consumers. The introduction of an ultra-affordable electric vehicle could upend this model, as resale values for gasoline-powered fleet vehicles could take a massive hit. If the depreciation curve steepens, companies may hesitate to purchase new gasoline-powered models in the first place, accelerating the transition to an all-electric fleet much sooner than anticipated. Private sellers are not immune either. Individuals trying to sell their used gasoline-powered vehicles may find fewer buyers willing to pay a premium when a brand new alternative is available at a similar price. This could lead to an oversupply of pre-owned gasoline-powered cars, pushing prices down even further. The resale market, once a reliable fallback for those upgrading their vehicles, may become a far less lucrative option. This dramatic shift will not just impact individual buyers and sellers. It will also force automakers to rethink their pricing strategies for gasoline-powered vehicles. If electric models become the dominant choice for budget-conscious buyers, automakers may be left with an ever-growing inventory of unsold gasoline-powered cars. Some may resort to heavy discounts, while others may accelerate their shift toward electric vehicle production to avoid being stuck with outdated technology. But while the used car market braces for impact, another industry is watching closely. Tesla, the company that once defined the electric vehicle movement, now finds itself facing a crisis it never expected. And this time, the competition is not just about technology, it is about survival. The EV price war has officially begun. With Toyota's latest move, the game has changed forever. Suddenly, the idea that electric vehicles must come with a hefty price tag is no longer valid, and every other automaker is being forced into a battle they were not prepared to fight. This price shift has sent shockwaves through the market, triggering an unavoidable chain reaction. Consumers who once hesitated due to cost are now seeing electric vehicles as not just a possibility, but the obvious choice. Manufacturers who built their brands around premium pricing models are now facing a difficult decision: either lower their prices or risk being left behind. The pressure is immense, and the first cracks are already forming. Companies like Ford, General Motors, and Volkswagen have spent years refining their electric vehicle strategies, but none of them expected an electric vehicle at this price point to arrive so soon. Their models, priced significantly higher, are now being viewed as overpriced. Even brands that once prided themselves on affordability, like Nissan and Hyundai, are struggling to justify their current price tags. The cost expectations for electric vehicles have changed overnight, and the race to adjust is already underway. Some automakers may attempt to compete through incentives and rebates, trying to create the illusion of affordability. Others may look toward new manufacturing strategies, slashing costs wherever possible to bring prices down. But no matter how they respond, one thing is clear: there is no going back. Consumers have seen what is possible, and they will not accept anything less. The competition is no longer about range, features, or performance. It is about price. And then there are the gasoline-powered vehicles, which now face an even greater challenge. For decades, their primary advantage over electric vehicles was affordability. That advantage is vanishing, and for many buyers, the cost savings on fuel and maintenance only make the decision easier. As electric vehicles become cheaper to purchase up front, the justification for sticking with gasoline is disappearing. Some automakers have already begun cutting production of traditional engines, anticipating the inevitable shift. Others are still clinging to outdated models, hoping that consumer habits will change slowly enough to allow them to adjust. But history has shown that industries do not change at a slow and steady pace. They collapse suddenly, almost overnight. Toyota has not just launched a new vehicle, it has forced the entire industry to rethink its future. And they are not the only ones making bold moves. Other companies, particularly those in China, have been preparing for this moment, ready to push electric vehicle prices even lower. The battle for dominance is just beginning, and those who hesitate may find themselves obsolete. But Toyota is not done yet, and what happens next may be even more shocking than anyone expects. Will automakers rise to the challenge, or will they be left behind in the biggest industry shift of the century? What do you think? Let's talk down in the comments. And thanks for watching.